Let's go right back to our phone callers. Next up is Charlotte. We've got her back, Nashville, Tennessee, Sirius XM 31. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Hank. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
My question, I work with some young people at work. I'm 50, and I'm wondering, there are a lot of young women, young families these days that, for their little boys, that they're not circumcising them. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are as far as modern day on that. I mean, I had sons, and I know what the Bible says about, why they did it in the first place, to separate us. But what would you say or counsel, or what would you say to the young people today that are not doing that? Is that okay, or how would you counsel someone like that?
Sure. Well, I would say that whatever my counsel is has to be rooted in the scriptures themselves. So I would take my own counsel and I would subject it to the Apostle Paul, who gets quite exercised at the Galatian Christians for thinking that they need to be circumcised to become acceptable to God. He recognizes that this is an Old Testament practice, and that practice has seen a fulfillment, the civil and ceremonial aspects of the law fulfilled in Jesus Christ. So you talk about Paul getting exercised. Well, he said, mark my words. I, Paul, and this I think is in Galatians chapter 5, I, Paul, tell you that if you let yourself be circumcised, Christ will be of no value to you at all. In other words, if you go back to the Old Testament civil and ceremonial laws, if you go back to temple, priest, and sacrifice even, well, then what you're doing is you're trampling upon the sacred blood of Jesus Christ. So he's pretty upset about people who are letting themselves be circumcised, but for the wrong reasons. Now, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with circumcision. It might actually be a good practice, particularly in certain cultures, from sanitary reasons alone, but not with the perspective of the Judaizers who were troubling the Galatians about circumcision. And Paul says to those Judaizers, I wish that you would go all the way and emasculate yourselves, because you're going back to practices that you shouldn't be imposing on people for all the wrong reasons, particularly imposing it on people as a way of forgetting that Christ has come to fulfill those aspects of the law.
Okay, that's very helpful. That's very helpful. So then there's no, it's just, even though with little boys and growing up and in sports and stuff, is it not, for them to fit in? It's basically just how your parents would feel, let's don't do it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So as long as you recognize that Christ has fulfilled the civil and the ceremonial aspects of the law, as long as you recognize that, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with circumcision. And as I said, it could even be healthful and helpful in some circumstances. The real issue here is, are you doing this to continue a practice that has been fulfilled in Jesus Christ? And if you are, then you're misguided. And that's why Paul gets that exercised at the Galatian Christians for thinking that they had to be circumcised to become acceptable to God.
Okay. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
You got it.